It's official, Tesla has finally announced and introduced the longer wheelbase version of the Model Y. Now there's a lot to get into about this car, but one of the most impressive things is its price. So let's get into it. Now, the Model Y L is a car that Tesla teased a few weeks back, but now we have full details about what this car is bringing, and it's bringing a ton of upgrades that's really showing how competitive it's getting, specifically over in China for Tesla. But it's also something that we'll hopefully see in the United States quite soon here, and it's probably a car that would be very popular. The Model Y L is a 6-seat variant of the current version of the Model Y, and so it has a longer wheelbase to achieve that. But the seats in the back actually have more comfort. In the past, Tesla actually shipped a 7-seat version of the Model Y in its current form factor, but those third-row seats were very small. Here, they're hoping that these seats are actually quite comfortable for even adults, and they show what it's like for a family right here. But in their new video of the interior, we can see a lot of different details, and this coincides with both rumors and the details we've heard from Tesla officially at this point. The first being that this will have a slightly larger 16-inch display, which is up 0.6 inches from the current display at 15.4 inches. It seems like it's just something that maybe matched this larger car a little bit better. Then there are more control options on the seat, specifically with extra adjustable leg support, which is a big improvement over the seats Tesla has ever shipped. Then there are power adjustable armrests for the second row seats, and those second row seats are captain's chairs, but they also can fold flat for cargo space. Both the first and second rows are ventilated and cooled, and then the second row can be folded electronically along with the third row, and then the third row seats are heated. So all 3 rows have heated seats, only the first 2 rows have ventilated seats, but that's a great thing to see in the second row. That's obviously a big improvement over what they ship in the Model Y today. Now, we'll get into more specific details about the design in just a second, but let's talk pricing, because the pricing here is actually quite surprising to see. This Model Y L in a larger configuration that's all-wheel drive with a big battery pack comes in at 339,000 won, which comes in at about 46,700 US dollars. So when you convert that directly, that's actually cheaper than the Model Y all-wheel drive long range is in the United States today. Also, this is only about 8% more expensive than the shorter version that Tesla sells in China, so it's really about a $3,000 price increase. For China currently, the Model Y standard range rear-wheel drive ships at 263,500 won, which is about $36,800, and this is a trim that we do not have in the United States. Then there's the long-range all-wheel drive version at 313,500 won, and that comes in at about $43,640 when converted. So now there is a bigger version for only about $3,000 more, which is really great to see. That's very competitive pricing, and it will seemingly be extremely popular. When you look at everything this car is offering and it's only about $3,000 more, I think a lot of people are going to opt for it, even people who don't necessarily need that extra space all the time. But now let's look at the range, which is pretty much on par with what Tesla delivers in the Model Y all-wheel drive today. The range is 527 miles CLTC range, or about 327 miles of an EPA range when converted. It also has a 4.5 second 0 to 62 miles per hour, and they achieve both of those specs with an 82 kilowatt hour battery. So this is just slightly larger than ships on the all-wheel drive version of this car in its smaller form factor. For storage capacity inside, it has 89.6 cubic feet of storage, and deliveries are officially starting in 2025 in September for China exclusively. Now, official reviews are also coming in of this car, and we're seeing a lot more detail here. One such detail is that the second and third row seats have vents for air conditioning inside the pillars. This is something that Tesla obviously doesn't ship on the second row of the Model Y today, but now they've added it to the second and third row for this larger car. Also, the third row seats have armrests and cup holders, and then you can see buttons there that allow you to fold down the second row seats. From the rear, there are also buttons to fold down all 4 seats electronically, which is a great thing to see and will make this incredibly versatile. Another thing is that inside, this car has an all-black headliner, which is a first for the Model Y specifically. They've shipped that on other cars like the Model X before, but now they're going all black on the Model Y, specifically for the 6-seat version. The ground clearance is 6.7 inches, or about 169 millimeters. Supercharging speed is the same at 250 kilowatts, and there will be another gray color coming later this year. In the trunk area, there's an added hook there, a 12-volt outlet, and it's equipped with continuous variable dampening, which is something that does not exist on the other Model Y, so this is Model Y L exclusive. Then they say, quote, optimized sound insulation effectively reduces noise. As for the ride quality, they're trying to make this even more luxurious than the updated version of the Model Y, saying, quote, the carefully tuned chassis, equipped with a continuous variable damping damper that adapts to road conditions, can effectively filter vibration, improve grip and stability, and allow you to get more precise control. So again, we're looking at $3,000 more to get an updated suspension, to get a third row of seats, to get extra vents there, to get power folding second and third row seats, to get ventilation in the second row of seats, to get a larger front screen, and then let's look at the front seats, which are much more comfortable as well. The front seats in general just seem more comfortable and more luxurious, but then they have extra adjustable leg support. Then when we look at the wireless charger on the front screen, this is something that Tesla has shipped for some time. But of course, a lot of people know this to be kind of a phone heater. It's not really the best charger because it will definitely heat up a lot of different phones and end up with them overheating and stopping charging. But in China, a lot of cars will ship with wireless chargers that have cooling with them, and Tesla has now added that to the Model YL. The charging base has a small slit for air vents in the center that blows cool air onto your phone to prevent overheating. And now the driver's side wireless charger supports up to 50-watt charging speeds, and it was previously 30 watts. The right charger is still at 30 watts. It is interesting to see how Tesla pushes out new features, because they come out with the latest car and put all the latest features on those, and then you're kind of wondering, well, this kind of belongs on the other trims of this car. Again, it's another one of those features that adds in to be $3,000 more expensive, and the value just seems like a no-brainer, to the point where it seems like the other car is now missing features. I think this cooling for the wireless charger is something Tesla needs to implement into all of their cars that have wireless chargers, because it just makes it so much better, and not just kind of a B-level wireless charger. Then comes the sound system, which also has been upgraded to 18 speakers and 1 subwoofer. Now, of course, it's upgraded in the sense that it has more speakers, but likely it's a very similar sound system that's very good. Probably gets a little better because it's a larger cabin, and that tends to help, but the more speakers are probably just coverage for a larger car. So as you can see, this car brings a lot of features, and Tesla is very detailed on their website about this. Of course, this is translated from Chinese, but it says the redesigned Model YL has an expanded body size, solid structural strength, and a more spacious interior. It also adopts a 6-seat layout, which makes space utilization more flexible. Whether it is performance driving or family travel, it can easily handle various scenarios. Then they talk about how it's great for a family, and we can see those kids in the back definitely have enough room. Quote, the 3-row 6-seat layout provides ample space for you and your family, including luggage. Whether you're on a short trip or a long drive, the driving experience is more comfortable. Here's another look at what those 3 rows look like, and there are adjustable headrests for the 3rd row, which in part actually shows that there's some decent headroom back there. Now, in most cars that are a fairly compact size but trying to get a 3rd row, the 3rd row isn't all that comfortable, even if it has enough room. So I am curious to see what people say about this 3rd row here. However, I think this probably will end up being the best 3-row SUV that Tesla has shipped yet. A lot of these features are already better than what they ship even with the newly refreshed Model X. And then when you think about the view, when you look above, there's a panoramic glass roof instead of all of the interior trim pieces related to those gull-wing doors in the Model X. Aside from those features, there are all the great features of the latest version of the Model Y. There's automatic trunk opening with your phone, there's adaptive headlights, blind spot monitoring, self-driving technology, and more. And then, of course, safety. Quote, Tesla is committed to building world-leading safety vehicles. Every model undergoes rigorous safety and durability testing to ensure that all passengers in the car are safer on the road. And they specifically detail how the SUV features a robust body structure and is equipped with airbags in all 3 rows to enhance occupant protection. The chassis-mounted battery pack lowers the vehicle's center of gravity, reducing the risk of rollover. So a lot of those details have been there before in the Model Y, but the 3rd row airbags definitely seem to be specific to this car. So all in all, this raises a very big question for this car. It's very exciting to see, and this is just like the launch we saw with the Model 3 and the Model Y refreshes. We saw that Model 3 get announced in China, and then something like 6 months later, the Model 3 got announced in the United States in its refreshed form. Then we saw the Model Y get announced first in China, and then within a couple of days they announced that one in the United States, which was a much better way to handle that refresh. You weren't having a ton of people with the Osborne effect looking at China and going, well, I'm waiting to buy mine in the US because that's going to come to the US. And I'm curious what they do here. This really seems like something that is worth waiting for a lot of people, but what's the price going to be? Tesla just strategically raised the price of the Model X by $10,000, up to a starting price of $100,000. And it looks like they're really trying to separate that so that they can launch this more expensive 6-seat version of the Model Y in the United States. But if pricing remains the same as they're doing over in China, it may not be all that expensive. I think when people look at the surface of this car and see all the features it delivers, they expect this is probably something like $70,000 from Tesla. But if we convert the prices compared to China and the US and look at what this car should cost, if they keep it the same, this should come in at about $52,440 in the United States. I think that would be a pretty great price for everything that this car delivers, especially compared to the other versions of the Model Y that they sell today. So that lineup would look like $44,990 for long-range rear-wheel drive, $48,990 for long-range all-wheel drive, and then rounding it up to their pretty numbers that they like, probably $52,990 for this car in the United States. $53,000 for what appears to be a true 3-row SUV with a lot of great features. Maybe more like a $4,000 price increase in the United States, but still worth it for a lot of customers. And then we're of course hoping that another trim ends up below this, like they ship in China with that standard range version. Maybe a standard range version will come, but we've seen plenty of leaks and rumors that a more affordable version with stripped down features will actually be coming to the United States as well in Q4, and Tesla has specifically communicated that as well. So which will come first here? Are we going to see the Model Y L get announced in the United States in the coming weeks? I'm not really sure. There haven't been that many rumors about this, and overall it seems that Tesla has been more focused on the affordable versions of this car in the United States. But I know for myself, I just bought a new version of the Model Y, and I'm looking at this Model Y L going, wow, that actually seems kind of nice. I'm a drummer and I oftentimes load a lot of stuff into my car. Could be a very good way to load more into my car, or a way to load my drums and then travel with 4 people with tons of comfort. It's a 3-row SUV from Tesla that doesn't require me to go all the way up to a $100,000 Model X with all of the quirks that that car brings. Overall, we know Tesla wants to make more affordable cars, but at the same time, they do like it when they can sell more expensive cars, and I think this is a good way for them to be able to keep doing that. They can actually add a more expensive trim to this car that hopefully doesn't cost them too much extra to build, and then people will actually buy it because of the added versatility. But what are your thoughts? Do you think this Model Y L is coming to the United States very soon, or is Tesla going to wait for some reason? It seems like a no-brainer at this point, since this form factor is extremely popular in the United States. But leave a comment below to let me know what you think. Reviews of this car are now coming in from China, so I'll be sure to keep you posted on all of the details that we learned through those reviews and what people say about the comfort in that 3rd row specifically. In the meantime, if you want to see a full video breaking down solid-state batteries, what they are and what Tesla could do with them in the future, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.